Put one finger down if you would like to impact others. Put one finger down if you would like to serve others. Put one finger down if you would like to provide solutions to others. Put one finger down if you like to be well recognized. If you put all your fingers down, it means that you like to be a leader. A leader is somebody who influences other people through their own conduct and their own way of life. A leader is someone who steers other people to the paths of progress, steers other people to the paths of development. And leadership often comes with a lot of glamour. It also comes with a lot of grace and a lot of opportunities. It comes with glory, and a lot of people want to be there. Need I also let you know that whatever capacity that you carry, whatever level that you are in right now, you are already a leader. You are leading someone other than yourself, and you are leading them to at least get to where you are, because in the hope that you would have moved a step or two ahead of them. So you are a leader. And going by that, there is a story of someone that is very important for us to learn from. You and I, to learn from this person about leadership in the context of Christianity. So you will see that a lot of things happening in our environment today is as a result of poor leadership. Even though we have leaders in office, yet we have a lot of things not going well for us as a nation. And even all over the world, there are several things happening all over the world as a result of choices and also decisions made by leaders. But there is this one man. This man is, or should I say was, someone whose story steers us in the direction of great leadership that brings or births the kind of results that we would like to see. That man is no other person than Nehemiah. I'm sure that at some point in your Christian journey, you must have heard of or read about this man, Nehemiah. Nehemiah was a cupbearer. He was a cupbearer in Shushan, and he was working directly for the king. This man was in a position where he was comfortable to some extent, even though, he may not have been a freeborn in that environment, yet he had close relationship working with the king directly, and he was comfortable. And as a cupbearer, it means that he gets to know a lot of things happening around, and even decisions that the king would make or was about to make. So he was well informed. However, Nehemiah understood where he was coming from, and he also knew who he was supposed to be. It happened that in Nehemiah chapter 1, which is what we'll be looking at in this particular video, we'll be looking at Nehemiah chapter 1, and we are going to be drawing lessons from the life of Nehemiah that we can adapt to our own leadership journey. Whether you are a parent leading your own children, or you are even the oldest sibling and you have younger ones coming behind you, you may even be a school teacher, you may be a Sunday school teacher, you may be a boss, the boss of all in an organization that you are working for. You are a leader. In your environment, on your streets, you may be one of the reputable homes, or you may be living in one of the reputable homes that people actually love, or they give credence to, they seek your opinions. You are a leader. And by that, you can learn something from the life of Nehemiah in chapter 1. So come along with me as we look at Nehemiah chapter 1 to draw some lessons that we can adapt to our own leadership journey, especially being children of God. So Nehemiah was very interested in what was happening back home in his homeland. And there were some of his kinsmen and his brother who came around, and he asked them about updates regarding his kinsmen. And he got the information that in his homeland in Jerusalem, a lot of things were going on. The remnant Jews were actually living with a lot of reproach. They were in that period where they were in reproach. They were heavily under a lot of challenges. And also that the walls of Jerusalem had been broken down and the gates had been burnt. Bear in mind that Nehemiah did not really have any reason to be bothered, because where he was at that time, he was in a comfortable environment. He was not going to be worried so much about what he would eat and the roof over his head, his comfort and everything. Things were going well for him. But we saw that the way Nehemiah responded to this news is what we really want to analyze. Nehemiah listened to this news about the remnant Jews in his homeland and the state of disrepair of his homeland. And what was his response? The Bible told us in that Nehemiah chapter 1 that this man Nehemiah went into mourning and then fasting and prayer. I just began to wonder, why would he need to really do that? It was not, after all, it was not disturbing him. It was not a big problem for him. It did not affect him in any way, Yet, he was bothered about this news. He mourned, he prayed, and then he fasted. Now, as a leader, your situation, wherever it is that you are right now, is not the peak where God is taking you to. If you had seen some of my previous videos where I talked about purpose, you would understand that your purpose, as long as you are still very much alive, there is still something above you that you are still going to attain. So an ordinary cupbearer who was comfortable, and even though he knew his place as a cupbearer, he was interested in what was going on in his homeland. Are you that person, that leader, who is bothered about the environment beyond the fact that your own life is at peace and things are going well with you? Are you concerned about others? Nehemiah was very concerned about his homeland and even the remnant Jews. They were not his relatives, or some of them were not his relatives. May not even have been, but they were his people and he was concerned about them. So I want to draw out a few lessons from the life of Nehemiah in this chapter 1. First thing that I noticed, or that I would like to draw our attention to, is that a leader that is Christianly at heart understands the need of his own people. And he doesn't just understand his needs, he is interested in it. So he identifies the problem, and he's able to know what exactly is the problem, what is going on. He knows it. There's a clear recognition of the challenges of his people. He's not confused, neither is he also in denial that things are actually going on. So Nehemiah asked all of these questions to know the update, because he knew that they were under slavery and they were not in control. So he was interested. He identified that there were issues and he knew the issues that were going on. Do you know the issues of your own environment or the people that you are leading? Maybe your children. Have you really identified? Have you analyzed their needs or their challenges, their problems? Have you looked at it critically and you have been able to really not be in denial, but to know what the needs are? A lot of leaders don't know the needs of their people. They think they do, but they do not. I have a friend in church who I always discuss with from time to time. He's a leader, and in recent time, whenever I talk to him, I'm always letting him know that you have moved away from the grassroots though. You don't really know what's happening. It seems as if you have moved, you are here now, your people are here, and you are not really in tune with their challenges anymore. And he's always trying to say, no, it's not like that, and all of that. But the real truth is that a leader that is a correct leader understands the problems of his people and he doesn't shy away from it. So if you are a leader and you are serving and you are here and you are just living in denial, you do not know that your people have problems. Even though you may know, but you are not actually so directly concerned, because it does not affect you after all. Your pay is going on steady, your home is comfortable, everything is going on well with you. Which is why if you look at our nation, for example, those are parts of the problems that we are having. We have local government chairmen and so on and so on and so forth, but most of the time, they do not know the problems of the ordinary Nigerian. They do not know the problems of the ordinary people. If you are a married man, you have children, do you know the problems of your children? If you are a teacher working in a school environment, do you know the problems of your students? Have you identified their challenges? That would tell us the kind of leader that you are. Number 2 that we can draw from there is that Nehemiah positioned himself as a solution to the problem. He did not shy away. He identified the problem and he offered himself as a solution. Even though it was not his problem, it was not his direct problem, he was ready to be a part of the solution and to be available to offer himself. A lot of times we are comfortable as a leader to just delegate and just give instructions and say, go ahead, go and do it, run this race. Go ahead, I want you to go. And you give instructions even with so much authority. Do XYZ, do this, do this, do this, do this by proxy. But you are not actually hands-on in that assignment. Is that the kind of leader that you are? And yet you sit down and wait and say, okay, let them go and come back with the results. And you begin to analyze, oh, you didn't do this well, you didn't do this well, you are supposed to have done this before, you did not get involved in the exercise. A correct leader will be hands-on in the entire situation. He will not just be doing it by proxy. Do you know that while Nehemiah was in Shushan, he could have just sent his a word and just say, okay, I know that there is a problem, and when you are going back to the homeland, give them this solution, let them do this, let them do that, He did not do that. He saw it as his own problem, and then he went into mourning, he went into fasting, and he went into prayers because he knew he was a part of the problem. The third thing I saw in the life of Nehemiah, in that also chapter 1, is that Nehemiah took everything back to God. After he had identified the problem, he took everything back to God in prayers. And he did not even stop there. He saw himself as a part of the problem. I want to show you how Nehemiah prayed. In verse 7, he said, we. He pluralized it. We. He did not just talk about those remnants back home or even the fathers who probably did all the problems. He put himself in that equation. You know, I have seen leaders who, even after they have delegated responsibilities to their followers, they leave their followers to bear the brunt. They leave them under the bus. They will not be bothered. If other people are even talking, they don't align with that particular challenge and say, I take responsibility along with my followers. No, they don't. They leave their followers under the bus and just allow their followers face the problem alone. That was not Nehemiah's approach. In verse 7 of this Nehemiah chapter 1, he was quick to say, we. He added himself to the equation to say, Lord, all of us together have sinned against you. All of us together have erred. Are you that kind of a leader? Bearing the burden along with your followers. If you are desirous of seeing results, then that must be the kind of leader that you should be. A leader who will not just leave their followers to do things, whether by proxy or by delegation, but they are also rolling up their sleeves, getting involved. They are doing it as their followers are taking the step. In fact, they are the ones leading the way. They take the first step. They take the second step. And then their followers take the third, the fourth, the fifth, and so on. But today you see leaders who just want their followers to take the journey. They take a back seat and they are waiting for the reports. Is that the kind of leader that you are? Nehemiah said, we have dealt very corruptly against thee, and we have not kept the commandments, nor the statutes, nor the judgments, which you have commanded your servant Moses. So he saw himself as part of the problem. A correct leader will not exclude himself from the problem, even though he has offered himself as a solution. So in all of this in chapter 1, Nehemiah did some very important things that you and I must be willing to emulate if we want to ensure that we create impact. We offer solutions to our environment, even to our nation, to our church, to our environment, to our community, to our children. We must be a part of the solution, and we must not extricate ourselves from the problem. We are a part of that problem, and we must be willing to give it all that it takes to be a part of that solution. Those were the things that we saw in the life of Nehemiah in this Nehemiah chapter 1, and we could see that what he did gave a lot of credence to the journey of faith. Have you been blessed? I want you to remember something. Remember that prayer is very necessary in our journey of faith. We must always go back to God part time to seek his opinion about certain decisions that we are about to make. But prayer is not the only thing that you need to do. Prayer that works must be supported with the conviction and your own sacrifices. So don't just pray. Ensure that you see yourself as a part of the problem and that you sacrifice yourself, your time, and your resources to be a part of the solution. Thank you so much for sticking around. I appreciate you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video.